The sun hung low over the Florida coastline, turning the sky into a canvas of gold and orange. Families laughed on the beach, couples strolled hand in hand, and kids chased waves with plastic buckets and bright smiles. Among them was Alicia Warren, a black single mother from Washington, D.C., who had finally taken her first vacation in years. After juggling her demanding job, parenting her 10-year-old son Malik, and the heavy silence left by her husband's passing, she needed this peace, ocean air, and time with her son. Alicia had chosen Clearwater Beach because it was supposed to be quiet and family-friendly. She wasn't here as Special Agent Alicia Warren of the FBI, but as mom, a title she valued far more. Her badge and gun were locked away in the hotel safe. Today, it was just swimwear, sunscreen, and the sound of Malik laughing as he built his crooked sandcastle, but peace never lasted long. As Alicia sipped her iced coffee on a beach chair, two local police officers walked toward her. Their eyes narrowed before they even reached her spot. She noticed the stiffness in their posture, the suspicious glances. She'd seen it 100 times before, not as an agent, but as a black woman in America. Ma'am, said one officer, his tone already sharp. We got a report of suspicious activity. Mind telling us what you're doing here? Alicia blinked. Sitting. Watching my son. On vacation, she replied calmly. The second officer stepped closer. We've had reports of someone matching your description harassing tourists and trying to steal beach bags. Her heart sank, not in fear, but in disappointment. Malik had stopped playing and was now standing nearby, watching his mother being questioned. His innocent face twisted with confusion. Sir, Alicia said evenly, I think you've got the wrong person. Let me see your ID, the first cop demanded. Alicia's hands moved slowly, deliberately, reaching for her bag. Years of FBI training told her how quickly these moments could turn deadly. She handed over her driver's license, keeping her voice steady. Is there a problem? She asked. The officer didn't answer. Instead, he radioed something in. The second one, a younger officer with nervous energy, muttered under his breath, probably fake. Malik's eyes widened. Mom, what's going on? It's okay, baby, she said softly. Just a misunderstanding. Minutes stretched painfully long. Tourists nearby had started to stare, whispering and pointing. Alicia could feel the judgment in their eyes, the same story written over and over again in America, a black woman accused before she's even heard. Finally, one of the officers said, We'll need you to come with us, ma'am. For questioning. Alicia took a slow breath, locking eyes with him. Before I go anywhere, she said, you might want to verify who you're talking to. The officer scoffed. Ma'am, we don't have time for games. Alicia reached into her beach bag again, this time pulling out a small black leather case. She flipped it open, revealing her gold badge and federal ID. The letters gleamed in the sunlight. Federal Bureau of Investigation, Special Agent Alicia Warren. The silence that followed could have swallowed the entire beach. The older cop's face drained of color. You're FBI? Last I checked, Alicia said, her tone cool but cutting. And unless I missed something, sitting on a public beach with my son isn't a federal crime. The younger officer stammered. We didn't know. We just got a call. Oh, I'm sure you did, Alicia interrupted. A call from someone who didn't like seeing a black family enjoying themselves in the wrong part of town, right? Neither man spoke. Malik stepped closer, his small hand slipping into hers. Mom, are they in trouble? Alicia looked down at her son, then back up at the officers. Not yet, she said. But they might want to think twice before profiling people next time. The older officer mumbled an apology. The younger one looked like he wanted to disappear. Alicia stared at them a moment longer, then added, You're both lucky I'm off duty. But don't worry, I'll be filing a report with your department. And I'll make sure your chief knows exactly how you treat citizens who look like me. The officers stumbled over each other's words, trying to backtrack. We're sorry, Agent Warren, it won't happen again. I'm sure it won't, she said firmly, snapping her badge case shut. As the cops retreated, whispers rippled across the beach. Some people stared at Alicia with awe, others with shame. But Malik was the only one who mattered to Mom, he said quietly. Does this happen a lot? Alicia sighed, crouching to his level. More than it should, she admitted. But what matters is how we handle it, with strength, not anger. With dignity. He nodded, still holding her hand. You were awesome, Mom. Alicia smiled. That's my job, baby. To protect. Always. They went back to their beach chairs, the waves washing the tension away little by little. The world wasn't perfect, but in that moment, she was proud, not just of her badge, but of the example she set for her son. As the sun sank into the horizon, Alicia whispered a quiet promise to herself. They can try to target me, to doubt me, to see only my skin, but they will never break me, because Alicia Warren wasn't just a single mother. She was a protector, a fighter, and a woman who refused to be underestimated ever again. The next morning, the Florida sun rose bright and unapologetic, glinting off the ocean waves like diamonds. But for Alicia Warren, sleep had been scarce. The events from yesterday played in her mind like a bad movie. The humiliation, the stares, the way those cops looked at her like she didn't belong. She wasn't angry anymore. She was focused. Before Malik woke up, Alicia sat at the small hotel desk with her laptop open, typing her incident report. Every detail of the time, place, badge numbers, and witness accounts was written clearly. She wasn't the type to shout or make a scene. She let the facts speak for themselves. Years at the bureau had taught her that paperwork was power. After hitting send to her supervisor, she leaned back and exhaled. Her phone buzzed moments later. It was her boss, the assistant director Mark Hall, a man known for being fair but firm. Agent Warren, he said, his deep voice steady. I read your report. You okay? I'm fine, sir, Alicia replied. Just tired of this happening. Even on vacation. There was a pause. We've already contacted Clearwater PD. Their chief is cooperating. And Alicia, good job keeping your cool. Thank you, she said. I had my son with me. I couldn't afford to lose control. That's exactly why you're one of our best, Hall replied. But there's something else. You might want to hear this in person. It seems your little beach incident is part of something bigger. Alicia frowned. What do you mean? Hall sighed. You stumbled into a local corruption mess, and those two officers may not have just been acting on a random report. There's been chatter about a group inside the Clearwater Police Department working with local traffickers. Drugs, money laundering, and worse. A chill ran through her. You think they were testing me? Maybe. Or maybe they recognized you, Hall said. Either way, be careful. We'll be in touch. The call ended, leaving Alicia staring at her screen. What was supposed to be a family trip was now looking like the start of an undercover mess. When Malik woke up, rubbing his eyes, she smiled softly and switched gears. Morning, champ. Ready for breakfast? He grinned. Can we get waffles again? Of course, she said, forcing a laugh. Waffles for my partner. But as they sat at the hotel's breakfast buffet, Alicia noticed something that made her stomach tighten. The same police cruiser from yesterday was parked across the street. Two men sat inside, pretending to check paperwork. They weren't even being subtle. She leaned down to whisper, Malik, how about we eat upstairs today? A little picnic in our room. He shrugged happily, unaware of the tension in her voice. Okay. Back in the room, Alicia peeked through the blinds. The cruiser was still there. She reached for her bag, opening the hidden compartment beneath the lining, her service weapon, a Glock 19. She checked the magazine and safety, then tucked it discreetly back in place. Vacation was over hours past. The car didn't move. When Malik took a nap, Alicia slipped out quietly, blending into a crowd of beachgoers near the boardwalk. She circled around until she was behind the police car, phone camera ready. Through the tinted window, she caught sight of one of the officers, the same younger cop from yesterday. He wasn't looking for suspects. He was taking photos of her hotel room window. Alicia's jaw clenched. That was no misunderstanding. That was surveillance. She snapped several pictures of the car and its plate before heading back. Once Malik was safe inside, she called Hall again. Sir, they're watching me. The same officers, she said quietly. I was afraid of that, Hall replied. Sit tight. We're sending someone, but don't engage yet. They could be dirty, and we don't want to spook them. Understood, she said, though every instinct in her screamed to confront them. By nightfall, the cruiser was gone. The next morning, however, she found a small folded note slipped under her hotel door. In messy handwriting, it read, Leave town. You're not welcome here. Alicia's hand tightened around the paper. That was it. No more warnings. She tucked Malik into bed early that night, kissed his forehead, and whispered, I'll be right back. Then she stepped out into the humid night air, phone recording in one pocket, badge in the other, and a storm of determination in her heart. They wanted to intimidate her. They had chosen the wrong woman. By the time the moon reached its peak, Alicia was standing in front of the Clearwater police station, ready to walk through those glass doors and face whoever thought they could threaten an FBI agent, and a mother, because this time, Special Agent Alicia Warren wasn't just protecting herself. She was about to expose an entire web of corruption hiding behind badges and smiles, and the city of Clearwater was about to learn that justice doesn't take vacations. The glass doors of the Clearwater police station slid open with a soft hiss as Special Agent Alicia Warren stepped inside. The night shift officers looked up from their desks, startled to see a woman in casual vacation clothes with a gaze sharp enough to cut through lies. She walked straight to the front desk. I need to speak with your chief. Now, she said, flashing her FBI credentials. The young officer behind the counter froze. Chief Daniels isn't in tonight, ma'am. Can I ask what this is about? Alicia leaned forward, voice low but firm. Tell him it's about two of his officers, Patrolman Jeff Rayner and Kyle Benson, conducting unauthorized surveillance on a federal agent and her minor child. I'll wait. The room went silent. Phones stopped ringing. Even the hum of the vending machine seemed to fade. Within minutes, whispers spread through the station like wildfire. A senior sergeant came out of his office, clearly nervous. Agent Warren, right? Let's, talk in private. Alicia followed him to a small conference room. You've got a problem in this department, she said, pulling up the photos she'd taken earlier. Your officers were tailing me. They weren't responding to a call, they were collecting photos of my hotel. I want to know who ordered it. The sergeant's face went pale. I don't know what's going on. But I'll find out. Good, Alicia said. Because if I have to dig myself, this whole department will be under federal review by morning. She left him there trembling, stepped back into the night, and called her boss, Hall. It's confirmed. The corruption runs deeper than we thought. I'm going undercover, off the record, she said. Hall hesitated. You sure you want to do this alone, Alicia? You've got your kid with you. I'll keep him safe, she replied. But if these men are involved with traffickers, they're dangerous. I need to know who they're working for. All right, Hall said finally. We'll keep a satellite team nearby in Tampa. Stay low. The next day, Alicia returned to the beach as if nothing had happened. She wore sunglasses and a floppy hat, her demeanor calm and motherly, while her sharp eyes scanned the crowds. Malik ran ahead, laughing as he chased seagulls, unaware that his mother was quietly watching every move around them, when she noticed a man sitting alone by a snack stand. Mid-40s, tan skin, faded police tattoo on his forearm, off-duty, but watching her too closely, when she walked past, he muttered just loud enough for her to hear, should have left when you had the chance. Alicia stopped mid-step, then smiled without turning around. You should have picked a better place to hide your corruption. The man stiffened, she kept walking, pretending to adjust her beach bag, but her phone camera had already recorded his face. That night, Alicia met with a contact from the bureau, Agent Carlos Vega, a longtime friend who'd been stationed in Tampa. They met in the back booth of a quiet diner. You weren't kidding, Vega said, scrolling through the photos. That's Frank Daly. Used to be a cop here, got kicked off for excessive force, but rumor is he still works with the local guys under the table. Word is, they're running protection for a trafficking ring out by the marina. Alicia's expression hardened. So it's true. And they're using on-duty cops to keep the operation clean. Exactly, Vega nodded. You want me to call for backup? Not yet, she said. If we spook them, they'll scatter. I'll get the proof first. The following evening, Alicia tucked Malik into bed, kissed his forehead, and whispered, I'll be right outside, sweetheart. She changed into dark jeans and a light jacket, blending into the night. Her heart thudded steadily as she approached the marina. The place was quiet, but a few boats still had lights on. From behind a stack of crates, she spotted them, two Clearwater patrol cars parked near a warehouse, officers unloading boxes onto a fishing boat. But these weren't police supplies. The boxes were marked with unregistered serial codes, and inside, she could see sealed plastic bags, drugs. A lot of them. Alicia pulled out her phone, filming everything. Got you, she whispered, then she heard footsteps. She spun, weapon drawn, as the younger cop, Officer Benson, stepped into view, flashlight aimed at her. Well, he sneered. The FBI lady thinks she can snoop around where she's not wanted. Drop your weapon, Alicia ordered. He smirked. You first. Before he could react, Alicia swept his legs with a swift move, sending him crashing to the ground. The gun skidded away. She kicked it aside and pinned him down with a knee to his chest. Federal agent, she hissed, flashing her badge. You're under arrest for corruption, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. He laughed weakly. You don't know who you're messing with. The chief's in on it too. That was all she needed to hear. Alicia cuffed him, read his rights, and sent her live footage to the Bureau cloud server. Seconds later, sirens echoed in the distance, FBI reinforcements closing in. By dawn, the marina was flooded with federal agents. The remaining officers and traffickers were taken into custody. Chief Daniels was arrested at his home, accused of accepting bribes and falsifying reports. Alicia stood near the water's edge, exhausted but calm. Vega approached with a proud grin. You just cleaned out half the department, Warren. She smiled faintly. I didn't plan to spend my vacation like this. Vega laughed. Yeah, next time maybe try Hawaii. As the sun rose, Malik ran up to her, holding a seashell. Mom, are we going home now? Yeah, baby, she said, lifting him into her arms. We're going home. He looked up at her, eyes wide. Did you catch the bad guys? Alicia smiled. All of them. And as the morning light washed over them, she felt peace at last, the kind she hadn't known in years, because no matter how many times the world tried to underestimate her, as a woman, as a mother, as a Black American, she always rose stronger. She wasn't just Special Agent Alicia Warren, she was proof that justice has no color, no fear, and no vacation. The sun was just beginning to rise over Washington, D.C., bathing the skyline in soft pink and gold as Special Agent Alicia Warren walked up the steps of the J. Edgar Hoover building, home of the FBI. She'd only been back from Florida for a week, but the events of Clearwater still echoed in her mind. The arrests, the media storm, and the look on her son Malik's face when she told him it was finally over. But as she pushed open the heavy glass doors, Alicia knew one thing for certain: nothing was truly over until justice was complete. Inside the Bureau's main conference room, a dozen senior agents stood to applaud her. At the head of the table sat FBI Director Elaine Porter, a sharp, composed woman with steel-gray eyes and a reputation for being unshakable. Alicia, Porter said, smiling for the first time in months, you did more on vacation than some agents do in a career. Because of your quick action, we dismantled a major drug network, exposed deep-rooted corruption, and saved lives. That's the definition of service. Alicia nodded humbly. Thank you, Director. I just did what any agent would have done. Don't be modest, Porter said, handing her a commendation plaque. You did what most wouldn't have the courage to. You reminded everyone what justice looks like, even when you were off duty. The room filled with applause again. Afterward, Alicia stood by the window, watching the traffic far below. When Agent Vega entered the room, holding 2 coffees. Thought you could use this, he said, handing her one. She smiled. Thanks. You heading back to Tampa? Tomorrow, he said. They're still cleaning up the mess down there. Chief Daniels made a full confession, and most of his team flipped to get shorter sentences. But, Alicia caught the hesitation in his voice. But what? Vega sighed. One of them's still missing, Officer Jeff Rayner. The older one who stopped you on the beach first day. He vanished before we got to his house. No trace. Her expression darkened. He's running? Looks that way, Vega said. We've issued a bolo nationwide. He won't get far. Alicia didn't answer. She stared out the window again, her reflection calm but her eyes fierce. Men like him don't just run. They plan. And if he's smart, he's not just hiding, he's watching. That evening, Alicia returned home to her cozy townhouse. Malik was sitting on the floor, building a Lego tower with serious concentration. When she walked in, he jumped up. Mom. Look, I made a police station, he said proudly. Alicia's heart melted a little. That's amazing, baby. Can we go somewhere next vacation? He asked, grinning. Like, somewhere boring? She laughed. You mean somewhere without criminals? Yeah, he said with a giggle. Somewhere peaceful. Alicia hugged him tight. I'll see what I can do. After tucking Malik into bed, she sat by the window, sipping her tea. The moonlight glowed across her badge on the table, a symbol of both burden and honor. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. You should have stayed in D.C., Agent Warren. Next time, you won't see me coming. Her pulse quickened. She immediately traced the number, blocked, encrypted. A burner phone, then came a second text, tell your boy I said hi. Alicia's blood turned to ice. She bolted up, rushing to Malik's room. He was fast asleep, safe, breathing softly. Relief flooded her chest, followed by rage. She picked up her phone, typed one message to Vega, he's here. Rayner. Seconds later, Vega replied, lock down your place. I'm on my way. Alicia turned off the lights, pulled her weapon from the drawer, and stood by the window, her silhouette hidden by the shadows. The quiet night outside suddenly felt heavy, dangerous. Her eyes scanned the street below. A car parked across from her house had its lights off, but the faint red glow of a cigarette flickered inside. Found you, she whispered. She raised her gun slightly, never breaking her gaze. Alicia Warren wasn't scared. Not anymore. She was ready, because if Officer Jeff Rayner thought he could intimidate her, he'd just made the biggest mistake of his life. And as the wind rustled through the trees outside, she whispered to herself, you came for the wrong mother. Again. The camera of fate pulled back, the dark street, the waiting car, and the lone figure by the window, standing between justice and vengeance.